Hello YouTube. Hello, hello. Back with another speed lab. This time it's June. This time we're speed labbing domestic violence. We gotta learn how to be better at domestic violence, boys. So this is how you beat up your wife. Okay. Okay. So Jun, right? So this character is very strong. Very strong in this game. Tekken 8, she most likely is like top 5 right now. She's one of the better characters in the game, and there are like a lot of reasons for it to monetize. True. Like this is not one of them. The 10 frame punch is one of them, but we'll go over some of the stuff. Because the thing is, even though I played against her somewhat and I lapped her like 2 to 3 times, I still don't understand her that well for my speed lab to matter that much. But talking about the most moves that Jun players use and maybe how to deal with them can still help a lot of people. So obviously I'm still gonna do the speed lab. So let's talk about this character. The best things to recognize, which is to be honest the hardest thing about dealing with a character, is recognizing her strings, which is very important. Her strings look very similar to each other for me personally, because this is my first Tekken game where Jun is in, right? I haven't played the Tag 2 or any of the tag games, and I haven't seen Jun at all. So it's a little bit hard for me to recognize, and I can imagine new players' perspective, right? But it's also very important to recognize his moves. Something like back 2-2, for example, is one of the best moves she has. So what is back 2-2? So back 2-2 is a safe mid-mid. You can punch parry it, but you cannot sidestep it or do anything about it. You can also power crush, if I remember correctly. Oh, you cannot. Okay, you can also... Not also, you can only punch parry it. I remembered that wrong. But this is very hard to do, and most of the time it's not even worth doing. Because you have to recognize back 2 instantly, and then punch parry after back 2 on block. And back 2 also has a mix-up with back 2 1. And you might think, you know, it's a high, it's not really a mix-up, you can just block both of them, which is correct, right? And just block here, like this. But the problem with ducking, not ducking here, is that this goes into a stance. And this stance will mix you up. Immediately mix up. So let's go over this stance mix-up, which is the important part about the back 2 string in general. So back 2 stance is 0 on block now. And if you try to challenge her with anything, that power crush will beat you. So back to 1 stance, power crush. Let me record this, I didn't record it. No matter what you do here, it will beat you. I'll try a jab, right? Of course you can block this after 1-1. But if you do something slower, you are gonna get hit. And it does a lot of damage. That's almost 50 damage. That's crazy damage, right? The good thing about this power crush is that it's kind of steppable, but it's hard to step. You have to sidewalk it like this. You see this tracking? If you step, there's a lot of tracking. You see this? This character is fair, boys. But it is walkable. If you walk, you're gonna get her back and get a decent punish you. As a Kazu, you can also do something like this. Obviously, you can also block it and punish it, but sidewalk left is a decent option here. But just be careful, because that move has a lot of tracking. You have to be sidewalking instantly and not actually reacting. If you react to this and then try to sidewalk, you're gonna get hit. You have to do it instantly. And that's why sometimes it's not even worth it. It comes out really fast. Okay. And the other stance stuff she has, in general, is this low, as a low mix-up. This 4 to stop you from stepping, but normally they don't use it, it's too slow. And there's a mid here. There we go. As also a mix-up option. Right? These are like the most common options. So you have to know what options she has. So basically, this is the low, Right? And if you're playing Kaz, which you are labbing with Kaz now, this is -13. This is very, very important. You have to always launch this. Always, always launch this. And if they do the form, this is the tracking option they have. This is plus on block. They might do this. I don't see a lot of Jun players doing this, but they might. So it's important to know that this is plus on block. This stance is called the Genjutsu, by the way. This is why it's called. I don't know why it's called that, but that's why it's called. Also, this is the mid option, which is safe, because of course it is. But Jun sacrificed some for HP. But to be honest, this mechanic for me is really, really strong. So it's a mid-mid, that's natural. Does decent damage, 34, that's a lot. And damages Jun for a little bit. And you can't really do anything about this, by the way. You can't press. At least it jails. You don't get hit. But you can't sidestep, you can't do anything about this. Flamingo, thank you for following. So be very careful about this. Be very, very careful. Because after this move, Jun players usually try to create space because of the... what's it called? Because of the pushback. Because of the pushback. So be careful about that. Blocking those kind of moves, those light waves. Almost all light waves, by the way, that's like a good thing to remember against Jun. Is almost all light waves are safe. I say almost because there's one exception, which is kinda insane. I'll talk about the exception later because there's another stance. It's this stance. There's a light wave in this stance that's punishable. This one right here. I guess I'll just show it because I was talking about this. So this, the two, this is the only light wave that's punishable. It's -13, you can actually punish it. From what I know, this is the only one. But yeah, let's talk about the Genjutsu stance still, which usually comes out after back to 1 stance, right? Usually that's how it goes. Back to 1 stance. Either the low comes out, the mid that I talked about, this, or the power crush if you challenge it a lot. Basically that's how it looks, more or less. And it's very hard to sidestep after back to 1 because it also has an extension. So back to 1 has a high extension here. Back to 1-4. If you try to sidestep here, you are obviously gonna get hit. Right? You have to duck it. You duck it, punish it. You block it, it's -8, a lot of pushback. Well, it's not -8 for you, it's -8 for the Jun player. But that means after back to 1, if you don't duck the second high, this high right here, a Jun player will pressure you. So it is gonna be a mix-up. And especially in heat, I'm gonna cover her heat a little bit later. It's gonna be way scarier. Basically in heat, she gets a... How do you go in stance? There you go. She gets a low heat smash from here, from what I remember. So I'll showcase heat and heat stuff in general a little bit later. But back to 2 and back to 1, very, very strong move. And the way you usually want to deal with this, and you usually want to deal with Jun, is sidestep right. But back to 2 is very good, because it actually covers the weak side. Right? And the second 2 just tracks really well. You see this? Look at this. Look at that. It just... I can't step it. I think this is what makes back to 2 so damn strong. You saw that? Look! Bro! I still don't... I can't believe this character exists sometimes. But yeah, the tracking on back to 2 is very, very good. You can sidestep the first one. Well, not sidestep, sidewalker. And then punish it. But it's very hard to do something like this. It's not easy at all. And back to 2 is a safe mid-mid as well. So you have to usually go for a mix-up afterwards instead of trying to punish. So be careful about that. So back to 2 and back to 1. It's very, very strong. But sometimes you have to duck this. Because Jun players love to abuse this. Back to 1. Duck it, you punish it. They love to abuse this. So sometimes duck it, force them to use the back to 2. Just so they stay unsafe and don't pressure you. Right? Of course, if you get hit, it's not that big a deal. The second hit is 10. It's not that big a deal. And it's only +3 for Jun. So force them to use back to 2. But the properties this move has is very, very strong. But as I said, even if you get hit, it's okay. Okay, the other stance I also wanted to cover is the stance that comes out after this follow-ups. So this is up to follow-up, and it has some string extensions. I think it's 4-3-2, which is the most common one, and 1-2-2, which is also pretty common. 1-2 and 4-3-2. Yeah, back to 1-2 is also a counter launcher. The last hit. Great. I forgot to mention it too. Okay, Tricky, thank you for the assist. I forgot to mention the mid. So there is a high that I already mentioned, but there's also a mid light wave, which is safe here. And unlike the other light waves that usually jail, this one doesn't jail. This is a countered launch. So if you press after this, you are gonna get launched. So this is very, very good. That's why I always say, not always say, but I said to duck the 1. It's very important to duck the 1. Then you will make the Jun player start using back 2-2 a lot more. It's very, very important. Okay, now let's go to the stance I was talking about. The up 2 stance, basically. This stance can come out after 1-2-2 or 4-3-2. Because if you see this, there's basically a stance happening. There's also some other situations, like this, 4-1, I think. I don't know if some other stuff is there as well. I think there's a two-hit punch that also does that. But the most common ones are these highs. Yeah, this is a plus on block, high homing from a string. And you can do it just like this as well. So let's just talk about up 2. So this is plus 6, homing high, right? Plus 11 on hit. That goes into stance. 1-1. Gotcha, thank you. So this is also one of them. Yeah, forward 1 and 1-1. It's basically the same mid. I'll cover these a little bit later. So if you get hit by this, not hit, but you block this, you're basically in a mix-up. Let's say 1-2 happens, right? And you don't duck it. It's duckable, you can duck it and launch it. But let's say you don't duck it. It's plus 6 for Jun, and you're in a mix-up. Basically, it's this situation. And Jun here has a hell sweep. It's a 4-1, I think. It is, there you go. So if you respect her too much, and also get strong, you're gonna get hell sweeped. And this hell sweep is really, really good, because I think it's sometimes wall splats in certain angles. I'm not quite sure about that. You can check that later, don't quote me on that, but I think it's a really good hell sweep because of the properties it has. It's fast enough, it's 21, and it also can be mixed up with this 2. But if you guys remember, this 2 is already covered. It's the only light wave that's punishable. So it's very, very important to punish this. But I think the most important mid that the Jun players have is the 3. This move right here. So up 2 into the 3. This is a frame trap. You can't jab her, but I think it will trade. Yep, it will trade. You don't really get anything out of this. And other than that, you can't do anything outside of a power crush. Obviously, you can power crush it. But I don't even know if that's worth it. Maybe sometimes it's worth it. But you can also sidestep it. The thing about this stance is it's not easy to step, as you can see. Sometimes you will get clipped, especially if you delay your steps. But if they like to spam the 3, the weakness it has is its sidestep property. It's very linear. Very, very linear. If they like to use this move, you have to sidestep and punish it. But it's a little bit hard to punish because she jumps away so far. And normally it won't be that easy to punish. But sidestepping is not a bad idea after this at all. But obviously, Jun has her own ideas and her own options for steppers. I think this tracks quite well. Yep. I don't know about the other side though. Yep. So if you just start sidewalking, sometimes this will just track you. This has very good tracking. And that's a normal hit launcher, by the way. I forgot to mention this. That's a normal hit launcher. Tracks both sides, basically. And if you duck a hell sweep, you're also gonna get launched. And it's also minus 13. So that's a very, very good move. Very, very good. And Jun players might use this. Because if you sidestep into a block, which is a very good thing to do against this stance, because you'll also block this, sometimes the 3 might still clip you because it has slight tracking. But outside of that option, which is punishable, a Jun player also has a 1. So this is like a check, high check that Jun players have. That will stop you from stepping. Unless you step to the right, basically. So it covers the left side, but doesn't cover the right side. But this is a very good check that Jun players have. Because something like 3, I think this tracks better to the right, if I remember correctly. There's like slight tracking to the right. But you can also step it to the right. But just be very, very careful about the character, because things just hit you sometimes. They just hit you. And if you sidestep block, you might get hit by the hell sweep. If you sidestep to the right, obviously. I think this hell sweep has full tracking to the right. And a little bit less tracking to the left, because the second one moves. But it still hits you. So there's no 100% option here. So be very careful about stepping, because hell sweep tracks you, basically. 1 tracks you unless you go to the right, and the 3 might track you if you delay your sidestep. Cutting for follow. So, and the 2 just tracks you in general if you just sidewalk and don't stop sidewalking. So be very, very careful about the sidesteps. And the big thing to remember is this has follow-ups, this 1. So there's either a 1-2 or a 1-1. So it has a high follow-up and a high mid follow-up. So let's talk about the follow-ups now. So the high follow-up, which I said, you can sidestep to the right. It's also weak to the right. So if you sidestep right, let me try to sidestep right, that will also whiff. But if you try to punish it a little bit too early, not early, too late, you might get hit by the second one. So something like this, basically. Right? It's not a countered launch, but you still have to respect it. Obviously, we can duck it, right? It's a high. At least it doesn't jail. But now let's talk about the mid option, which is a 1-2. This is also weak to the right. It also will whiff in this situation if you sidestep right block, just like this. Wait. Or if you sidestep right duck, that might also work. Especially if you're afraid of a hell sweep or a 1. But sidestep right duck is gonna be very risky because a 2 will just hit you, or a 3 might just hit you. So as I said, you have to like choose your own options according to what the Jun player likes to do. But yeah, be careful about that. This 1 string. It's definitely not easy to deal with, not fun to deal with. Okay, I think that's it about that stance. Oh, forward 1+2, I almost forgot. This also covers sidestep. Yeah, this move is actually very strong. Dude, Trick, I'm glad you're here, man. Sometimes I just forget he has moves. So this is a 16 frame mid that tracks both sides because it's tracking move, obviously. It's not that bad to get hit by this, like normal hits, but it still deals decent damage to a 21. But if you sidestep right block, you most likely will be able to block this, but it's still gonna be hard. Because you only have 10 frames. And this is also a frame trap, by the way. So if I jab here, it won't work. If I down jab here, it will trade. Oh, and one thing I almost forgot to do. Trick. I'm very happy you remind me of this move, because do not in any circumstance down jab here. In any circumstance, do not down jab here. Because what she gets is if you down jab and that trades, let's say I down jab here, right? That's guaranteed. Do not down jab here. Just don't do it. Just because this exists, just do not down jab. Don't do it. Under any circumstance. It's very tempting, I know, but don't do it. If a Jun player knows what's up, they will just start doing this on counter hit, and forward 2 is guaranteed. Free launch, basically. And other than that, this move is also very good on counter hit, even without the trade. Because it's plus 23, it says plus 23. But you can also recover very fast. The only thing she gets guaranteed is this. Up to 13 frames or 14 frames if I remember correctly. But that's still very strong. So basically something like this into 1+2. If you get counter hit. Let's say you press something, right? That's guaranteed. Into instant heat. So this is a very strong move. That's a safe homing mid. That is -9, which, you know, it's safe, but -9, it's okay. But the thing is, it's the counter property that makes it so strong. Because of the counter property, she gets a free heat engager basically, and like 40 something damage. And you can't sidestep because of it either, and you can't press because of it either. Only thing you can press is power crush. You can power crush it. Or you can punch parry it. I'm pretty sure you can punch parry it. But yeah, Jun is a very, very strong character because there are so many options. A lot of options cover a lot of stuff. And most of the time, she gets a lot of reward. Like, a lot of reward. So be very, very careful about stuff like that. She has a grab too. Oh, I almost forgot. How's the grab? There we go. I almost forgot. So against Stepper, she also has a grab because grabs are homing. So she has this grab. I think it's 2+3 input. That's what I'm pressing anyway. And she also has a power crush here. Because she needs it. You won't see the power crush that much. You won't see too much. But she does have it. I think most of the time, you'll see the power crush after either 1-1 or forward 1. So I already covered this stance, right? This stance position. Up to. But now let's cover the other ones. The other one is 1-1. So this 1-1 goes into stance, but she's -1 afterwards. And it's the same with the forward 1. I'm pretty sure it's the same. This is 0 instead of -1. Basically, almost the same situation. And this is the situation when you will see that power crush a lot more. This power crush. Because people will start mashing here because she's actually more minus. Right? If she decides to use the stance. Will be uploaded? It is. It will be uploaded, yes. But if you mash, she obviously can just, you know, can just block. But she can also just decide to use the stance, which is very strong. Like this 1-1 and forward 1 are very strong because of this. She can decide to block or just use a hell sweep afterwards. Obviously, it's the same with this. But the mind game after 1-1, which is basically a save high mid, is very, very strong because of that. So the things you should expect is they might hell sweep after that. They might power crush if you like to mash. If you like to sidestep, they might do the tracking move. Or they might do this high to just catch you. If you like to press something slow, that might also catch you. Yeah, it's a -1 on block. High mid. It's not natural though. At least it's not. That would be very, very strong if it was natural. Or yeah, they can also do a grab, which is very common. Because this will also beat steppers. It will beat slow moves. I think up to 14 frames it will beat it. So if I do 13, this will trade, I'm pretty sure. So I will beat it. 15 frames. Am I messing up? Oh, this... Is the throw slow? The throw is 14. Got you. So it's up 16 frames. So 15 framers will actually beat this throw. I thought the throw was 12 here, but it's slow. Slower than I thought. It's 14. But the throw is a very annoying option because of steps and step buttons and stuff like that. It kind of forces you to press something. Kinda, like a jab. If you do a jab, a hell sweep will go under it, or they can duck it. She has a lot of options basically, but just to remember that the 1-1 and forward 1, these two animations are like the main ways that the Jun players kind of go into the stance and mix you up. Same with 1-2, up 2, or forward 3-2. Both of them. The spinny grab, unbreakable down, it's a 1+2 break. So that's important to know. Other than that, the very, very common moves Jun players like to use is forward 4. This is very common. You see this almost all the time. Let's cover this move a bit. This is kind of like Asuka's forward 4, which is a tracking high, which is plus on block. This is very, very similar to Asuka's, which has a lot of range, and it's plus 13. I think this guarantees something on hit. I think 1 plus 2 is guaranteed here. I think I messed up. There we go. That's guaranteed. So this is a super, super strong move. So on hit, this is guaranteed. And obviously, if you are in heat, you can also heat dash. So very strong move. Heat engager is guaranteed on hit. And I think on counter it also has a property. No, it doesn't. Okay. But on hit, it has a very, very good property. Good thing it doesn't have a counter hit, but 1 plus 2 is guaranteed after it. And that's a lot of damage, and plus heat engager. And in heat, does this launch? No, it doesn't. But it will be like pretty decent damage. Okay. So be very, very careful about this move. Obviously, you can't do anything about it because it's the tracking high, unless you duck it. You either create enough range to make it whiff, which is very hard. Look at the range this has. Look at this, right? That hits, right? Hits. Let's try and make it whiff. Wait. How? Wait. Please, wait. Okay, I made it whiff. Oh, 2.9? Nah. 2.91 or something like that. 2.9, it still hits. Never mind. Wait. Basically 3. Basically 3. At 3 range it whiffs. Nah, it has a lot of range. You guys saw that, right? That just kept hitting. So it's very hard to space it. So most of the time, you have to duck it. Which is a crazy move, right? You don't want to duck against Jun most of the time. You really don't. So this is one of the most common moves they throw out because it's so good. It's very strong. But just remember, it's plus on block. The other thing they like to throw out is down forward 1 string, like down forward 1-1 or down forward 1-2. Just remember how this looks like. Down forward 1. And sometimes you have to duck the high. Right? The high is duckable. If they mix you up with the mid, like a down forward 1-1 for example. I didn't record it. This is punishable. -11. And it's you have back 1-2. We do have an 11 frame punish, so we gotta use it here. Normally you get a 10 framer, but back 1-2 works. So that's good. For the Kazuya player, that's really good. Back 1-2 works there, decent damage for a -11 punish. Right? But other than that, you also have to remember the down forward 1s might come out after strings like this one. And this makes it so much harder to deal with. You can actually step it to the left in this particular situation. Because forward 4 kind of aligns you in that situation to the left. Right? And you can punish it. Like this might come out. Something like jab down forward 1 might also work. And her down forward 1 is actually a little bit weird. Like normally, look at this. It tracks to the left. Right? Normally it does. Like it's the weirdest shit ever. Because you want to sidestep her to the right. For down forward 1, I mean. But in this, only this situation, after forward 4 and block, the down forward 1, for whatever reason, tracks to the right. You can't sidestep anyone. You just can't. You have to go to the left to make it whiff. It's only this situation where down forward 1 starts tracking to the right because forward 4 actually sidesteps you on block. If you pay attention to the block animation, whenever you block this, your character actually sidesteps to the left. You see Kaz moving a little bit, basically teleporting a bit to the left. Because of that, it's harder to sidestep to the other direction. And I think Asuka has exactly the same property. Exactly the same. Down 4, yeah, down 4 also does that. I'll talk about the lows a little bit later. I talked about down forward 1, I talked about back 2. The most common other mids is forward 3, and I think forward 2. I'll talk about these two, and then I'll go to the lows. I'm pretty sure I'm skipping some stuff, but I can't talk about everything. As I said, it's still new, and I still don't understand Jun that well. Okay, now let's talk about forward 3. So forward 3. This move is a safe mid tracking move that doesn't have a counter property from what I know. Yep, it doesn't. But it has follow-ups. The main follow-up is this one. And I'm pretty sure every Jun player in existence uses this. And abuses it. So let's talk about this move. This is 4-4-3, 3+4. This is +3 on block. Chip damage mid-mid. That's hard to sidestep. Because the second one actually clips you if you try to sidewalk it. You see this little clipping? The way you deal with this, there are actually two ways to deal with this. One is a jab. If you jab her, this will work. But if you jab in this situation, the Jun player might exploit it and use it against you. Because they won't always finish the string, obviously, right? But the jab will work. And the second way, which is the best way to deal with it, is a sidestep to the right. Do not sidewalk. If you sidewalk, you get hit. I don't know why, don't ask me. But if you sidestep right into a block, this will just whiff. This is how you punish her. Right? You also get her back, maybe get something like this. This is all guaranteed. As a Kazuya player. Right? So these two ways you can punish her for finishing the string, and I think sidestep right, don't sidewalk, do a sidestep right, will work the best. For me, I think it's personally the best one. Okay. I talked about that, and now let's talk about 4-4-2. Not 4-4-2, 4-4-1 plus 2. So this mid, Jun players usually use this to pressure you. 4-1 plus 2 is a +6 mid that will wall splat you and deals pretty good damage. That's 30 damage. It's really, really good. It doesn't have a counter property, but it already does a lot. The weakness this has is that it's pretty linear to the right. You can also sidestep to the left, to her left, but it has a little bit more tracking to the left, as you guys can see. Look at this tracking, just a little bit more tracking. But if you do it the same thing to the right, you will actually get her back. Right? So usually, when it comes to Jun, you want to sidestep her to the right. Usually. There are exceptions, like after this, right? As I already showed you. So you have to be very, very careful. And about 4-4-2, not 4-4-2, 4-4-1 plus 2. When you are blocking this, sometimes you have to respect it. So they might do 4-4-1 plus 2 into another 4-4-1 plus 2. Be careful about that. 4-4-2. Oh, 4-4-2, yeah, almost forgot. 4-4-2 is another... excuse me. Is another move that they can go into stance with, which is the Genjutsu stance. I already covered this stance at the options she has, so it's basically the same options after this. Right? If you don't duck it. Basically the same. So be aware of that too. 4-4-2 by itself, I'm just gonna cover this really quickly, is punishable. It's -12. But 4-4-2 into stance becomes plus. So if you try to punish it, you are gonna get hit. So it's a kind of a mix-up here. But I think the only thing she can do to avoid the punish is that power crush. This one. I don't think Jun can do anything else. It has extensions? Really? It has extensions. Obviously it has extensions. Holy shit, I did not know this. Try hello. If you try to manage to get a countered launcher, also that's a mind game as well. Like that's why I said in the beginning of the speed lab that I don't know the character that well. But I'm just lucky Trick is here. So yeah, 4-4-2 has a 4-4-2-3, which is a high. If you try to punish it, you're gonna get hit. Obviously you can duck it. It also has a mid, 4-4-2, 1 plus 2. Which is a counter hit launcher, okay. It is punishable though. So yeah, if you try to respect 4-4-2, I'm guessing you're gonna get mixed by the stance. If you don't respect it, you're gonna get mixed by the follow-ups. Is the electric punish? True, is the electric. Yeah, this is very good to know actually. Very, very good to know. Okay. That's 4-4-2. Let's talk about some of her lows now. Oh, I almost forgot. How did I forget? I forgot about this. I think this is one of her best mids. How did I forget? So sidestep 4. So sidestep 4 usually comes out after 1-2. So 1-2 has a option to cancel into sidestep. And this is very, very good to know because 1-2, I already covered this, is a stance mix-up, right? Goes into stance, and you'll usually get mixed up after it. And you usually want to duck this because of that reason. But she has 2 options against this. One is 1-3, I think. It's 1-4. So if you duck it, you're gonna get hit by this mid. So that's a mix-up to the high. But this mid is punishable. It's -12. That's one of the options she has. The other option is sidestep cancel into this, which is the most common one. I think everyone uses this. So 1-2 sidestep 4, this is very common. So if you duck it and stand up, you are gonna be in -6. Say thank for falling. And if you duck it, you're gonna get hit by 20 damage, force crouch, +8. So be very careful about this. The way you can avoid this is you can sidestep it. That's one way to do it. You can sidestep it to the right or to the left. I think both ways work. Yeah, both ways work. But you have to time your sidesteps. Or you can also mash like down 4-2 and get a counter it. Right? That's one of the ways to avoid it. And 4-3 can also do this. 4-3 sidestep. This is a little bit harder to react to because, you know, it's just one move. So 4-3 sidestep 4 also is a thing. You can also beat this the same way. You sidestep after it. Or mash after it. But obviously Jun has a lot of options for mashers. Like if you mash after 1-2, just like Zaylu said, the 3 will just catch it. The 2 will also catch it. Yeah. She mixed this with 4-3-4. Yeah, I already covered the 4-3. 4-3-2. I already covered this, and there's also a mid extension here as well. Exist, hello, bro. Okay, now let's finally go to the lows. Damn, I think this is gonna be the longest speed lap for now. So let's go into her lows, which are very strong in my opinion. So down back 3, down 4. Down 4 I think is the main low, but down back 3 is also very good. There's also Can, which is a 14 frame counter launcher, basically. And there's, I think, the stance low and this either stance hell sweep, which are the best ones. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything here. Oh, and the full crouch down 4-2. Almost forgot. Down back 2. Oh yeah, and down back 2. Okay, I think that's it, more or less. Most common ones. Dark Souls boss, I agree. Jun is very strong. Okay, but the most common one, in my experience anyway, is down 4, which Jun players use a lot, and down back 2. These two are very, very common. And I mean, very common. And one thing to remember about all of these lows, unless the low is from a stance, they're all -12. You have to like remember this one thing. All of them are just -12. So if you're playing Kaz, you cannot launch them, unless they're from a stance. So something like this, which is a stance move, and this stance 1, this is -13. But something like down 4, for example, which is a 15 framer, is also -12. Same with down back 2. That showed it, -12, and the same with down back 3, which is +2, also -12. So basically all of them, even the full crouch low that I just showcased, this one, I think this is even -11. It's -11. So all of these lows are very, very safe to do, even if it gets blocked. The main weakness these lows kinda have is you can sidewalk them to the right, but some of them track really well depending on how the Jun player uses it. Like something like down 4, for example, you can't really avoid this. You cannot avoid it most of the time, right? It's actually walkable to the left. This is doable, but because of how fast it is, it's very fast, and that's why it makes it so much harder to sidewalk in any direction. Down back 2, the main weakness this has is it's kind of slow. It's more on the reactable side because it's 23, but you can't always react to it. And as I said, you can also sidewalk to the right, just like down back 3. That's how slow it is. Okay. But down 4 is basically the main low Jun players use, especially the good ones, because you can't sidewalk this. It's very fast, it's only -1. And it has a very, very good property and very good mind games, basically. Be very careful about Jun players using this move. Sometimes low parry it, sometimes block it, sometimes avoid it with backdashes. But it's a very strong move because its weakness is basically nothing. Like, I don't understand what this move's weakness is. Because this reaches from very far away, like 2.4. Right? Look at this. Look at that reach. Does my stature kick even reach from that far? It does. Basically the same reach as my stature kick. Go about think for follow. But it's much faster. It's not that much plus, but still. So down 4 is very, very good. And there's also this one. 1-3, which is a high-low. I think it's the same property as down back 3. Same weakness as down back 4. I mean, this is just way faster. Way, way faster. Okay. And now let's talk about the full crouch move. Like, these moves don't have that scary counter properties. Like, something like this only has a +6 property. This has no counter property. And this has a +14 counter property. So I don't know, does this give you anything guaranteed? I don't think this gives you anything guaranteed. Down 4 has an extension. Oh, got you. I forgot to mention this. So down 4, no, nothing guaranteed. Okay, that's good. So down 4 has an extension as well. So if you try to like do something like press a button after down 4, this is also gonna hit you. But I don't know the counter property on this. Okay, let's check this together. Let's check the counter property on this. Okay, it doesn't launch you. At least it doesn't launch you. But this is gonna be a wall splat, basically. So be careful about this low high. This might be a round ender. So this down 4-4 is a round ender, and the 1-3 is also a round ender. I'm gonna think for follow. So you gotta be careful about these two things when it comes to end of rounds and when you have low HP. And now let's talk about the full crouch move, which is arguably her best low, I think. And it has some setups too. I'll talk about like one setup that I find the most common. But I don't know some other setups. I only know that one. So let's talk about this move by itself first. So this move, it's 0 on hit, low. Does 12 damage. And it's -11. Like normally you would think, okay, it's okay, right? But then you will see the counter property that it has. So on counter hit, it says +18 here, right? But it's not 18 frames guaranteed. But what is guaranteed here is 14 frames. So what happens here is this into while standing 3, this is all guaranteed if you get counter hit by it. So basically she gets a free launcher that deals pretty decent damage. Not bad damage at all. So this is very, very strong because of that. And not to mention this move, this low right here, tracks both ways. It's basically tracking. You cannot avoid this. In any situation, it's tracking. No avoiding this low. Even if you backdash it, it has decent range. Right? That still hits me in this range. For a low like this, that's very good range. Look at that. When will it start whiffing, I wonder? Will it ever start whiffing? Please? Okay, there we go. 2.3. So it's a very, very good low with decent range. It's tracking, 0, countered launcher. Basically. And -11, I almost forgot. So it's very, very strong. This is one of her best lows. Yeah, -11. It is -11. So yeah, be very, very careful about this low. And the flowchart that I want to show you guys is sidestep 1+2. This is one of the most common things. When I was playing against Jun, everyone was using this. I haven't seen a Jun player that hasn't done this. Basically this into this. This is the most common flowchart I've ever seen for this. Sigma, thank for follow. So sidestep 1+2, full crouch down 4-2. This is the most common one because you think this move looks like it's punishable. It's a 3-hit move. Sidestep 1+2 is another move that's very good, by the way. It's a sidestep high, mid. And it's -4 on block. Everyone thinks it's punishable, so the Jun player just full crouch down 4-2. You try to jab it, counter hit. You get launched now. So yeah, be aware of the setup, please. I got hit by this a lot. That's how I know about it. And yeah, there's jails. There's jails. You can't duck it. And if you duck this, you can't punish it either. It's too fast. It basically has no weaknesses. You have to duck second high and be fast enough before the mid comes out. You can't do anything about this basically. It's a very, very good move. Yeah, if you try to duck it, then basically you don't duck it. Don't duck it, man. So it's a very, very good move and sets up a mind game from full crouch. That's why they just do this. Because people think it's punishable, they jab, you get counter hit. So be careful about this. Okay. 4-2 cancel. Yeah, 4-2 cancels. This is Asuka stuff, basically. If you know anything about Asuka, this is exactly the same. So her 4-2 can be cancelled into full crouch. And this is very common for Asuka players. And it's exactly the same mind game. So 4-2 cancel, down 4-2. Asuka stuff. Yeah, back 1 cancel. Exactly the same Asuka stuff, basically. And 4-2. Almost forgot to mention these. Oh my god. Okay, I have to mention these now. How did I forget? Kuroi, thank you for the... Thank you for follow. How did I forget these? So this... So Jun's special thing is that she can make most of her stuff that's strong safe just by using a little bit of her health. Guys, this is safe. So she uses 8 of her health to deal... How much chip damage is that? I'm pretty sure that's like 4 chip damage or something like that. To deal 4 chip damage to you and also make 4-2 safe. And this is a heat engager. So this is very, very strong. 8. Oh, that's 8 chip damage. Got you, got you. It says in the box. No, I mean to us, not to herself. I think she deals more damage to herself. I don't know how to check to herself. Yeah, 8 damage. So that's very strong. But the other thing that makes her very strong is down 4-2. So her down 4-2 is a 16 frame normal hit launcher normally, and it's punishable. But if she extends this, it becomes safe. And it still launches. So this is a 16 frame normal hit launcher. That's safe. This right here. So this is very strong. She can basically throw this out if she thinks she's gonna whiff punish you, or just if she thinks you're gonna duck. And she's still safe. And she launches you. So this is one of the best moves she has. So very, very strong. He deals a little bit less damage since they fixed the bug thingy, but it's still very, very good. And yeah, you can just spam it. Why not? It's a mid-mid launch. The thing about this is that, like most of her moves, I think you can also sidewalk them. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Why does this move track again? I thought you could sidewalk it. Oh my goodness. Okay, just add that to the list. Get this move nerfed, boys. Get this move nerfed. Okay. Now let's talk about the heat stuff. Basically, I just want to add 2 heat moves, which is the heat smash, like the 2 heat smashes, basically. Yeah, what does that track? After a jab. What the hell? Okay. So, let's talk about her heat a bit. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people know normal heat smash. This normal heat smash is basically a healing mechanism. Which I'm pretty sure they should fix this, because this should not heal on block. Maybe on hit it would be okay, but it should not heal on block. Hood, thank for follow. So what this does is it's basically a shotty, right? This is shotgun. That's what I call it. It is a very good range. Very, very good range. Does 50 damage. This wall splats as well. It is minus for Jun, but a lot of pushback. You will never use this minus, basically. Go back to neutral. And she heals. If you look at her health bar, she glows green. I can't showcase the healing in practice mode, but she heals quite a lot. Just from pressing one button. So it's Very, very good. And if you manage to avoid the first hit somehow, let's say you backdash it. That second hit hits you from infinite range. You see that? Wait. Look at that. Let me try stepping it. You can actually step it. I'm actually surprised. But yeah, that's an infinite range. But the way you deal with this heat smash, I'll tell you how to deal with this, is that you do not let her use the second one. If you think she's gonna do it, let's say you think she's gonna heat smash. Let's say she does, I don't know. Let's do like a 1-2 into a heat smash. If you predict it, you have to avoid to do the sidestep like this, but make sure she doesn't have time to do that second move, because you cannot step that. So let's say you sidewalk, right? This will track you, because she automatically realigns herself because of the sidewalk. So the way you deal with this is after you step, you press for a counter hit. So for Kaz, you do down 4-2. Because this is your best, counter hit tool. This is what you do. If you predict it. But you have to make sure to not mess up. Because if the second hit comes out, you'll either block it or get hit by it. So be very careful about that. So sidestep button is the way you beat this heat smash. What about from afar? If it's from afar, you just have to block it. You can't do anything. Like let's say backdash, 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 backdash from afar, right? Because usually it's not worth sidestepping from this far. You just can't do anything. If you're like too far to even punish this, can't do anything. You just have to block it and make her heal, I guess. Which is what makes this move so busted. Just have to block it. Yeah, it was splats. I didn't mention that. That's balanced, very. To laser, you don't have time to laser. I wish you did. That would be cool punish, but you don't have time. The second one comes out way too fast. Like, let me showcase it as well, just so you guys can see it. Not even close. Not even close. Can you fly over it? You also cannot do that. The fly comes out way too slow. The second one is just very fast, basically. And the second heat smash I wanted to cover is the heat smash she has in Genjutsu stance, this one. And it's a low heat smash that does 42 damage. So basically, every time she goes to this stance, you have to look out for that. You know this move? That low right here? That's basically the same move, but with an extension. Up laser? Yeah, I know what you mean. I know. Fly laser. But fly comes out too slow. So be very careful whenever that stance is a thing. So in situations like back to 1, for example, this stance. Or forward 2. Not forward 2. Forward 2, this stance. For example, right? Or I think there's some other extensions as well that I'm not remembering, but for example, those kind of extensions that goes into this stance, you have to look out for that heat smash. While staying 1-1, yeah. That's basically the same as back to 1, more or less the same move. So you have to look out for it. Okay. Oh, and I almost forgot. Before I mention something else, I also want to talk about this move, while standing 2, which is I think one of the most busted moves she has as well. So this wall standing 2 is a countered launcher. So that's a launch, right? That's 13 frames fast. And it's -8. It's safe. And the thing is, it also tracks decently well. See this tracking? So you guys just have to know that this exists. Like, I'm sure, not I'm sure, but I would gladly tell you how to play against this kind of move. Like, gladly, right? But I don't think this move has any actual counterplay, other than interrupt it and hope she doesn't counter at you, which is a bad counterplay. So be very, very careful about this. Just know that this move exists, and this move might come out in certain situations, like this into 2, right? Cancel. Or full crouch this into the 2. Be very careful about this. Okay. I think that should be it for now. For now, I most likely didn't cover a lot of stuff. Yeah, she has a lot of knowledge checks. I think her 1+4 stream also has a lot of knowledge checks and stuff like that. But that's like up to you guys to lap her and just see the highs that you can duck. And what I showed in the speed lab is that the most options she has in the stance mix-ups and what kind of mind games she does usually. So that should be like enough for now. For like an early speed lab, that should be okay. Should be okay. I think this took pretty long, almost an hour. Yeah, this took pretty long. But yeah, YouTube, big thank you for watching, guys. Big thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.